Thanks for tuning in. Ham Talk Live will be on the air shortly. Please stand by. Thanks for tuning in. Ham Talk Live will be on the air shortly. Please stand by. This episode of Ham Talk Live is brought to you by Tower Electronics. For connectors, cables, and more, call 920-435-2973 or visit pl-259.com.
It's Ham Radio.
Good evening, everyone. It's time for another edition of Ham Talk Live. This is episode number 85, the Johnson Space Center Amateur Radio Club anniversary and special event station, recorded live on Thursday, October 12th, 2017. I'm your host, Neil Rapp, WB9VPG. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Ham Talk Live. Tonight we're joined by Ken Goodwin, K5RG, and we'll take your calls live in just a few minutes. Well, on the show last week was Christian Kudnick, K0STH, here to talk about the 100 watts of wire fallout, and hopefully you had a chance to get on the air last weekend. I was able to make just a handful of contacts on that. But if you missed the show, you can listen anytime. It was a lot of fun. It was over at hamtalklive.com, and you can also catch us on the podcast version. We're on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, iHeart Podcasts, Google Play, TuneIn, and SoundCloud. And you can also find us over on YouTube and many other podcast apps. So pick out your favorite one, and chances are we are there. So after a while, we'll give you a chance to ask your questions. After we talk to Ken for a while and do the interview, you can call us. Let me go ahead and give you the telephone number. Now, we're not ready for your calls just yet, but we will be soon. And that telephone number is 812-NET-HAM1. That's 812-638-4261 for the alphabetically challenged. Or you can Skype us at Ham Talk Live. You can also send us a tweet. Our Twitter handle is at Ham Talk Live, and you can start tweeting right now if you like, and we'll try to keep an eye on those throughout the show. And we're on the air every Thursday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Just go to hamtalklive.com and check out Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We have some stuff up there through the week as well. Before I talk to Ken tonight, do have one important note about School Club Roundup next week from Lou into RQ. The next session of School Club Roundup begins on Monday, and on 20 meters, there's a lot of formal and informal traffic being passed for hurricane relief, and a lot of that is around 14.250 and 14.275, which is right where the schools usually operate. That's kind of the recommended area, is 14.250 to 14.280. There's also some stuff up on 40 meters, but it's down at 7.182 and 7.188. So the recommended frequencies are a little higher for School Club Roundup, but the organizers of School Club Roundup wanted to make sure that we didn't unintentionally interfere with any weak signals that couldn't be heard. You know how that goes. Sometimes you get on a frequency and you ask if it's in use 2 or 3 times and you don't hear anything, and then all of a sudden, hey, wait a minute, there's these people on here trying to pass traffic. So this time only, we're going to shift those frequencies around. So if you're running School Club Roundup next week, look for schools just above and below the normal frequencies of 14.250 to 14.280. And the other bands shouldn't be affected a whole lot, but we want to make sure that that word gets out and that we don't cause any unintentional interference to those stations. So be sure to listen first, as always, and if we are on one of those, then we need to move so that we can get out of the way. So just wanted to mention that, and I'll be on from my high school with my group. The kids will be on the microphone next week. So just wanted to remind everybody about School Club Roundup and about the change in the frequencies. So help pass the word on that. Well, tonight our guest is Ken Goodwin, K5RG. He was introduced into the hobby in 1955 in San Juan, Puerto Rico by Father Ed Turner, KP4WN and KV4BQ. And he was first licensed as K1ONW in 1960 as a technician. And in 1963, the family moved to Boston, where Ken became an active participant in the Eastern Massachusetts Net and the 1RN while attending Tufts University, W1KN, to become an electrical engineer. After undergrad, he moved to Texas to work in the space program in 1968 with the MIT Instrumentation Lab and Dr. Draper's lab. He became an extra class later and picked his current call sign of K5RG. He's a life member of ARRL, QCWA, and the OOTC, and a member of and officer of the NASA Johnson Space Center Amateur Radio Club, W5RRR, the Diamond Club of the ARRL, the A1 Operator Club, BPL, and Tapper. And he also has a general class radio telephone license with endorsements in ship radar and radio telegraph. And I found out the other day that he was the Puerto Rico National Yo-Yo Champion. So we may have to talk about that if we have some time later on. Currently, Ken is the treasurer of W5RRR, the Johnson Space Center Amateur Radio Club in Houston, Texas. So, Ken, welcome to Ham Talk Live tonight.
Well, nice meeting you, Neil, in the audio domain, as they say.
And congratulations on the Yo-Yo Championship. Now, I was cruising the website, and all of a sudden here comes this trivia question, and it was the Yo-Yo Championship. So I'm impressed.
Well, only my closest friends usually know about that. But I prefer to say it was the same time I got interested in amateur radio too.
Well, I should mention that one of the young hams from my hometown club in Vincennes, Indiana, was Tanner Jones, W9TWJ, and now he's all grown up, and now he's in the club down there, so there was a little connection there. And he's currently the webmaster and QSL manager of the club, so he's the one that contacted me about doing the show, so I'm glad it all worked out, and we can talk about this special event coming up soon. And if you don't get enough space tonight, and one of NASA's little, at least promotions slogans is I need my space. So if you need your space, December 7th, we're going to have Dr. Rob Suggs, KB5EZ, to talk about a year-long special event that's at all of the NASA facilities. But tonight we're just talking about the Johnson Space Center in Houston, Texas. They've got an anniversary coming up and a special event station this weekend. So, Ken, tell us all about it.
Okay. Well, as you said, it's our 50th anniversary. We think we probably got a steady state start in 1967. There had been a few attempts at radio clubs at the nearby Ellington Air Force Base, but I think the club started a continuous history in late '67. So we decided to commemorate the event, and this weekend, October 13th through the 15th, Friday through Sunday, probably starting around 4 o'clock on Friday, which I just calculated is 2100 UTC, 4 p.m. Central Daylight, till probably 6 o'clock Sunday. We'll be running the club station. No special call. We get plenty of response to our normal amateur radio call, W5RRR. So we'll be in pretty much continuous operation this weekend. We've attempted to emphasize having operators try to get a few of the astronauts that have their license out there. Some of our new members, we're trying to get interested in the event. So most likely 20 meters and 40 meters single sideband will be the predominant mode, probably in the lower part of the general class subband. And in operation with that, we have a special QSL card. We've been working with KB3 IFH, designing a commemorative QSL card for the event that turned out really nice, even though I think we probably made Randy a little crazy with all our tweaks and changes, but dealing with engineers is never easy. So we'll have a special QSL card for the event. The only thing we ask is that you QSL with a self-addressed stamped envelope, SASE. Our address is good on QRZ, our webpage, w5rrr.org. So we'll have a card if you care to. It's pretty, really nice QSL card, and we ran this. We ran a special events back in the 25th anniversary of Apollo, and it blew up in our face. We ended up with a situation where we were going to have to spend more money than the club had to fulfill the certificate that we promised. So this time it's a nice QSL card, self-addressed stamped envelope, this weekend. So I think that's the short of it.
All right, very good. So listen for W5RRR on sideband mostly, on 20 and 40 in the lower part of the general class subband, and you can find it on the spots too, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And give them a call and get a nice QSL to boot. So be sure to check out their webpage too, w5rrr.org, and get on the air this weekend and give them a call. So tell us about this shack that you've got for the club and how that ties into NASA's mission.
Okay, well, let's see. As I say, we got started in '67, and reasonable number of amateurs associated with what was then the Apollo project, and at that time it was the Manned Spacecraft Center, later changed to the Johnson Spacecraft Center. But the club really took off in association with our being the force behind SAREX, shuttle amateur radio on board the shuttle. The first time that we got amateur radio into space, which was back in, of course I wrote this down, I can't find it now, but I think it was 1983 with Owen Garriott, Dr. Garriott at W5LFL. We were able to qualify a handheld ended up with a foil antenna that went into the overhead window of the shuttle. And Dr. Garrett took amateur radio into space, and talk about lots of contacts. It was really quite an event, and the club was behind it. I think we've had 3 other shuttle missions that carried amateur radio on board. Each one got bigger and better. And I guess the way I like to tell the story is the Amateur Radio Club was so successful with amateur radio in space, which became the genesis of amateur radio on board the International Space Station. All I can think of is AMSAT, ARISS, ARISS, amateur radio on board space station. And so NASA saw that having amateur radio was quite a desirable feature. So they took over the program, and after seven years of doing it, I think we were the ARISS amateur radio equipment became an educational tool. The contacts today are scheduled between the schools and the amateur radio stations aboard the International Space Station, of which there are 3, and they're about to get a new one. So ARISS has been really successful. I've participated in a couple events with some of the schools in the local area. We classically use a telebridge contact, a telephone call to a station that's in the ground track of the space station at the time. The students get to ask questions of the astronauts for about 20 minutes if it's an optimum pass. And so those 2 things, SAREX leading to ARISS, really got the club started. When the SAREX experiment started off, one of the major manufacturers, I forget which one, donated a top-of-the-line rig, and one of our members had the bright idea, well, gee, if one of these guys is willing to do it, we should ask the other 2. And sure enough, we ended up with 3 top-of-the-line rigs from ICOM, Yaesu, and Kenwood, which consist of the basic resources that we have at the club now, along with a satellite station, obviously. So the club, I guess, as the Johnson Spacecraft Center got deeper into providing benefits to the employees, the Employees Athletic Association at JSC was going to go through a major construction upgrade, and they were more than willing to build us a shack. And boy, did they! I don't think they ever said no to any of our requests. You should see the ground system we've got in there. Must be a couple $1,000s of copper in there. But our new shack was built in 2007. As I say, it's got 4 stations that are all set up, ready to go. 2 weekends ago, we refurbished the antenna farm for this event and put a new tri-bander and a 40-meter rotatable dipole on the top of a 80-foot tower that we replaced most of the sections. So we're ready to go. And that's the club shack today. Very nice facility. Works out great on field day because it's air conditioned.
Oh, wow. There you go.
But NASA put in an external electrical system, so we could quite easily plug in a generator and run generator power during field day.
Very nice. Well, I remember the SARX missions, and in fact, Dr. Garriott's son has been on this program, and we played some of the audio from that, and it brings back again a lot of memories of being able to talk to the space shuttle, and like you said, that's continued on now with Eris, and they're still raising money to get that equipment certified and up there to boost the power and the capabilities up there, and all started with W5RRR. That's the start of it, and so we're very thankful that your club got that process rolling and did the SARX thing and got Eris going. So pretty neat stuff, and you guys have some other activities that you do. Tell us a little bit about those activities that are available and who can be a part of those.
Okay. Well, to go back historically, the first special event station we ran was Apollo 17. For that, we did get a special call sign, WM5 MSC for Manned Spacecraft Center, which was the name at that time. And then the SARX came along, and we've actively supported Eris, especially in the local school districts. As far as the club is concerned, we are associated with the center legally. We support a number of the activities. We're a backup communication source to the Emergency Operations Center at the center. At the center, we also when you think about amateur radio on board space station, we're also a backup communications system for space station, which, if I remember, almost got used when the computers went belly up one day. Luckily, the shuttle was docked at the space station, so they were still able to control it, but they called us up and made sure we were ready to go if they had communication problems. Let's see, what else do we do? As far as the club is concerned, being that we are legally associated with the center, we do support that activity. So our members have to be affiliated with the NASA activities, the NASA facility in some manner or another. So our membership is limited to some degree. Obviously, we have honorary members and things like that, but we also are the other club in the area is the Clear Lake Amateur Radio Club, which is a public service club, and a lot of our members are members of both clubs, so we participate in their public activities, and they in ours. Just this, yesterday, in fact, we supported a fun run at the center associated with Total Health and Safety Day, which has been an activity at the center for a number of years. And at the end of the day, they have a fun run, and we provide communication support to that activity. I should... And
some testing, right?
Yes, one of our members has been run as the Honcho VEC in the area. So I think it's the second Saturday of every month at the recreation facility, which is the Gilruth Recreation Facility. He sponsors test sessions, and I suspect we've had over 1,000 people go through that over the years. On-the-air activities, antennas. It's just like amateur radio. You name it, we do it. Probably.
Yeah, very good.
We're looking at EME as a possible next technical activity.
Ah, very cool. Well, if we get the moon base going, that maybe we'll get something going up there. Who knows?
Well, we're going to shoot. What's that trophy for the first amateur radio contact with Mars? That's the one I want. That's the one I want.
Yeah. Well, there's some cool stuff going on down there, and the 50th anniversary of that club is being celebrated this weekend on the air. So make sure you get on, give them a call, and look for W5RRR on the air. So we're going to take a break, and then we're going to come back, and we're going to give you a chance to call in and ask your questions. Again, that telephone number here in just a minute. You can give us a call. It's 812-NET-HAM1, 812-638-4261. So we'll be back, and we'll do that and give you a chance to talk with Ken Goodwin, K5RG, right after this word from Tower Electronics, right here on Ham Talk Live. This episode of Ham Talk Live is brought to you in part by Tower Electronics. Tower Electronics has been the Ham's Dime store since 1978. When you need connectors, mobile and handheld antennas, cables, or adapters, visit Scott or Jill at a Hamfest near you. Or you can order online at pl-259.com or call 920-435-2973. Stock up on those supplies like PL259 and N connectors, SMA adapters, audio cables, soldering supplies, mobile antennas, and ham sticks. Their silver-plated N connectors are even used on the International Space Station. Tower Electronics carries MFJ, Comet, Daiwa, OPEC, Workman, and Ham Pro products. And don't miss their 0% off sale going on now. Tower Electronics, online at pl-259.com, proud to sponsor this episode of Ham Talk Live.
Sorry for the delay. Your host, Neil Rapp, is reading a book on anti-gravity, and he just can't put it down. Now, here's more Ham Talk Live. Join the conversation. Call us on voice with Skype at Ham Talk Live or give us a call at 812-NET-HAM1. That's 812-638-4261. Now, here's more Ham Talk Live.
Thanks to Scott and Jill at Tower Electronics for sponsoring the show tonight and to help bring Ham Talk Live your direction. They'll be at Melbourne, Florida this weekend, Friday and Saturday, so that's coming up tomorrow afternoon in Melbourne, Florida. And let's see, Greenville, Tennessee on October 21st. And LaGrange, Georgia on October 28th, or you can just give them a call. It's 920-435-2973, or you can go online at pl-259.com and tell them you heard it on Ham Talk Live, and they'll be glad to hear from you. Well, it's time for your calls, so if you have a question, now is the time to call. It's 812-NET-HAM1, 812-638-4261, or you can catch us on Skype. Again, it's Ham Talk Live on Skype. Make sure you give us a contact request there. I think we figured out that was our technical problem last week. And then you can also tweet us at Ham Talk Live, so make sure you give us a call. And we do have a call here on the line, so let's see if we can get that. Yes, hello, who is this? Hi, Tanner, how are you? All right, it's good to hear you. So you have a question or comment here for Ken?
We do collectively have a question for Ken. We hear he likes to climb mountains. The question is, has he ever taken amateur radio with him?
Well, evening, Tanner. I knew you guys were going to lay for me this evening. So, the secret of mountain climbing is to carry as little as possible, and I even found 35 millimeter cameras to be too much to carry at 20,000 feet. So I've never taken amateur radio into the Himalayas. There, I have taken shortwave radio. Couple of some expedition members had to get their daily ball scores, so my job was to listen to the BBC and get the ball scores on my shortwave radio. But that was about the most we've taken into Nepal and Pakistan. Weight is not your friend.
Now, Tanner, how did you find out about this yo-yo championship thing?
Well, that was actually our vice president, I think, who somehow came up with that tidbit and happened just to put it on the website. I think I actually, as Ken said 2 weeks ago, we did a big tower event, and I think there were some rumblings going around when we were doing a lot of work, but I didn't get to hear the whole story about that. But Dave's the one who posted it on our website anyways. That's Dave Lee, W5OC.
Our vice president, right. Now, the story behind that was my father was stationed in San Juan, Puerto Rico with the United States Coast Guard, and I was a member of the Cub Scouts, and Coca-Cola showed up at one of the PAC meetings and gave a demo and passed out free yo-yos and said they'd be back in a month to have a contest. And I think that evening my father said, he'll lose interest in this in a couple of weeks, and but that's all it took. So I won. I won the PAC, the Cub Scout PAC, San Juan Air Force, San Juan base championship, and they sent me on to the nationals right there in San Juan, and got through that. And I just wish I had kept some of the badges and trophies. Somehow they've disappeared over the years. But I like to talk about having been introduced to amateur radio in Puerto Rico. That was a pivotal event in my life. And
well, you didn't make a dipole out of the yo-yo, did you, Ken?
No.
That's what I was thinking. I was thinking, hey, maybe that'd be a good launch method for the dipole.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking, the big base of the yo-yo is the decent insulator. So maybe an antenna. I didn't know.
Yeah, I sure got hit with it enough times.
Well, Tanner, not to put you on the spot, but you're going to be operating some on this special event.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm very fortunate that I get every Friday off, so I'll be ready to go Friday, and then Saturday we've got VE testing here at Gilruth, so I'll be helping with that, and then getting on the air, and then I'll probably come out again on Sunday and just hang out and get on the air as the spots come open. I think we're going to rotate folks in and out, and just plan to have a really, really fun time this weekend. So we hope to hear you on the air.
Yeah, I think most of these contacts we're not allowing our big contesters to get into this, I guess. So the contacts are going to be informal and hopefully more than just a signal report and request for the QSL card that I mentioned. So our new members, hopefully we may even get some astronauts out there that are licensed. Almost all the crew members today are licensed, predominantly for ARIS. So it's informal operation, I guess would be the way I'd say it.
Very good. So you may have a chance to even talk to an astronaut by getting on this weekend and catching the Johnson Space Center Amateur Radio Club 50th anniversary celebration on the air. So make sure you get on there. And Tanner, W9TWJ, thanks for calling in and working with me to get this set up, and have fun this weekend.
Absolutely, Neil. Thank you so much for doing this and your hospitality to getting us on the air and a little bit more exposure. We really do appreciate it. my phone's about to die, so I'm going to get off here. But again, thank you, Neil, and thanks to Ken for coming on the show to do the interview as well.
All right, thanks, Tanner. 73s.
73. Bye now.
812-638-4261 is the telephone number, 812-NET-HAM1. If you have a question about the special event station this weekend or the Johnson Space Center Amateur Radio Club, or maybe some old Apollo questions for Ken. He worked on the Apollo missions quite a bit, so give us a call, 812-NET-HAM1, 812-638-4261. We've got time for another call or two, so give us a call. And you mentioned that the club is kind of limited, so you have to be a NASA employee or an employee of a NASA contractor or previously, or how does that work?
Yeah, you've said it exactly correct. Essentially, you had to have been badged sometime in your history, I guess would be the way to say it. It's since we're supported by the Employees Activity Association. We have to remain true to that association. However, the shack is in the non-secure area of the Space Center. It is open to the public, and we do, during field day and things like that, we actively seek people to come visit us. So off Space Park Boulevard, there's a public gate that leads to the Gil Ruth Recreation Center. And you can't miss us with the 80-foot tower and this 3-element brand new tri-bander on the top of it.
Yeah, that's always a good way to locate the station.
Yeah, right.
Look for the antennas up in the air, and you can find us. So, very good. 812-NET-HAM1 is the phone number, 812-638-4261. We have time for one more call if you'd like to chime in here. And again, we'll mention that this NASA on the Air thing is going to be coming up in December, and be sure to listen on December 7th. Dr. Rob Suggs, KB5EZ, is going to join us, and every NASA facility is going to be participating in that. That's going to start around the first or second week of December, so we'll be right before that starts up, but there'll be a lot of celebrations going on for NASA, and Johnson will be a part of that as well. But this one is all about the Johnson Space Center and the 50th anniversary of their amateur radio club this weekend on the air. Again, 40 meters, 20 meters sideband is where most of the activity is going to take place in the general class portion of the band, so be sure to look for them. Again, that phone number, 812-638-4261, 812-NET-HAM1, or tweet us at hamtalklive. And in fact, I need to run over here to Twitter and see if we've got anything over there too. And I saw someone else had called earlier, but it was during the interview, so we didn't get a chance to get that in. But
well, I can tell you about the first special event that I had at the club.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it was Apollo 17. I came off my shift during the mission, and it must have been 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. Went out to the shack to participate in the special event station that we had set up, WM5 MSC, and walk out there, and who's there operating? Senator Barry Goldwater. So in those days, the NASA recovery ships had gone the way of not being needed anymore for communication. So the Collins S lines were a surplus, and we had a full Collins S line out there at the shack, and Barry and I sat there and made contacts into the wee hours of the morning. It's quite an experience.
Wow. Yeah, that would be very, very well-known ham and very well-known public official as well. And just be able to sit down next to him and be rattling off the QSOs. Wow, that was one of the worst experiences of my life. How could an amateur radio operator not become president of the United States? Well, he was close.
Yeah,
he was close. Very good. Well, that's a great memory. All right. Well, anything else you need to throw in here before we say 7-3?
Well, again, 4 o'clock Friday afternoon until probably 6 o'clock Sunday. 20-40 meters single sideband. W5RRR.org and self-addressed stamped envelope for a really nice QSL card. Association with KB3 IFH QSL cards. It turned out a lot better than it's nice. It's a nice card. It commemorates all the activities over the last 50 years that the club has been involved in.
Very good. Well, sounds like a fun time, and I wish you great success with that this weekend, and congratulations to you and the club on 50 years, and hope there's another 50 coming up.
Well, Neil,
you get that Mars contact.
Yeah, that's on the bucket list here, no doubt. But thank you very much for giving us an opportunity to put out a little PR associated with this special event. We appreciate it, and we look forward to having some nice informal contacts this entire weekend out at W5RRR.
All right, very good. Hopefully I can squeeze some time in to get that call in myself as well. So thank you so much for coming on Ham Talk Live, and that is a wrap for this week's edition. Thanks to Ken Goodwin, K5RG, and everybody out there in cyberspace for listening and calling in, and invite you back next Thursday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Sean Kutzko, KX9X, will be here to talk about more space. He's going to talk about getting started with satellite operations. So it's your chance to work some satellites and talk about that. So Sean will be here, and we're looking forward to that. For a list of all of our upcoming guests, visit hamtalklive.com and click on the show schedule link, and you can see what's coming up over the next few weeks. So for now, this is Neil Rapp, WB9VPG, saying 7375, and may the good DX be yours.
Well, you came right back to my CQ call. Your readability 5 and strength 9. You never once mentioned your weather at all, and I didn't mention mine. We talked and talked for hours and hours. I completely forgot you're a ham. I don't know your power or the height of your tower. Frankly, I don't give a damn. So 73s to you and your family. I'll be seeing you further down the lawn. Your 73s to you and your family. I'll be seeing you further down the lawn. It's hard to believe that you're anti-OD, 'cause you sound just like a local up here. But why don't those whistling Mediterraneans check if the frequency's clear? We're warm and cozy in our shacks, and we have talked about thousands of things. About shoes, about ships, about sealing wax, about cabbages and kings. So 73s to you and your family. I'll be seeing you further down the lawn. Your 73s to you and your family. I'll be seeing you further down the lawn.